Hi guys, my name is Stephanie and you're highly welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. Please consider subscribing to join this family. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you guys how to cut and sew this simple armless gown. It's really a simple tutorial and I have this 2.5 yard of fabric and other materials I'll be using at the course of this project. So keep watching till the end. So guys, I've gone ahead to fold the fabric, both the back and the front together, and it's folded in 4. So I'll go ahead and mark this straight line at the upper side, which will serve as my starting point. And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be marking the full length of the gown now. I'll start from that line that I marked at the upper side all the way to the full length. So the full length I'm working with is about 56 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark the 56 inches right there, but I'll not be marking it exactly at 56 inches. I'm adding extra 2 inches for sewing and folding allowance. So I'll go ahead and mark the 58 inches and then mark a straight line and connect it all the way to the other side. So guys, when I was actually done, I decided to add extra 1 inch, the full length of 57, and then 2 inches for extra sewing and folding allowance. So her full length is going to be 57 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut it at the downside. And next is that I'll go ahead and divide her shoulder. Her shoulder is 17 divided by 2. I'll mark it there, and then I'm going down from there by 1 inch for shoulder slope. I'll just move down by 1 inch and then mark it with my chalk. So for the neck width, I'm making use of 4 inches. I'll go ahead and mark 4 inches right there and then mark it with my chalk. There's not going to be any zipper, alright? There's no zipper on the back, so it's actually going to be together. So I went down by 5 inches. I actually marked 4 inches but added it to be 5 inches for the front neck depth. So I'll go ahead and mark it with my chalk and then connect it all the way to the neck width. And for the back neck depth, I'm making use of 1.5 inch. So from that starting point, I'll mark 1.5 inch and also curve it to the neck width. So after doing that, the next thing is just to slant the shoulder line, just the same way you see me doing in this video. And then when I'm done, I'm going to be marking the armhole. So I'll go ahead and mark her armhole of about 8 inches. I'll go ahead and mark it there and also connect a straight line from there. And the next thing is that I'll mark the midpoint of the armhole, which is 4 inches. I'll mark the 4 inches right there. So from this shoulder line, I'm not going to leave it exactly to be the same because it's an armless gown. So I'm moving in by about 1 inch. You can move in by 1.5 or 2 depending on how deep you want it to be from inside, but I moved in by just 1 inch. So from this midpoint, I'm also moving in by 1 inch, and then I'll actually curve it when I actually finish inserting her bust measurements. So I'll go ahead and divide her bust measurements by 4. I'll go ahead and mark it, her bust, round bust measurement divided by 4, and then I'm adding extra 1 inch for ease because there's no zipper on this gown, and then I'm adding extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. I actually added 1.5 inch here, but I later on cut it at 1 inch for just sewing allowance. The 1 inch is for sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and connect the lines, and then from that bust measurement, I'll go ahead and make a curve all the way to the midpoint and then to the upper side. I'm not actually making use of that first line that I marked. I'm making use of the second one. And next is that I'll be taking her waist point, which is 16 inches, also her half length. I'll go ahead and mark the 16 inches and also connect a line to this other side. And from that waistline, I'll be marking to her hip point of about 8 inches. I'll go ahead and mark the 8 inches and also connect a straight line to this other side. I'll also divide her round waist measurement by 4. It's about 38 inches. I'll divide it by 4, mark it, mark 1 inch for ease and also 1 inch for sewing allowance. I actually reduced the 1.5 inch of allowance that I marked here to 1 inch. And for the hip as well, her hip is 47. I divide it by 4, add 1 inch for sewing allowance and 1 inch for ease. So like I said earlier, I've also gone ahead to reduce the 1.5 inch for sewing allowance to 1 inch from the bust point to the waistline and also the hip as well. 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. So guys, for the downside of the gown, for the hem of the gown, I'll actually be marking a straight line from the hip point all the way to the downside. But if you have extra inches at the side, you can actually make it to be an A-line gown so that the person will actually be free to move when they are moving. All right, or you can also make it straight and then create a slit at the side. So I've gone ahead to connect all the points together all the way to the downside, and I also went ahead to cut it, as you can see. And I've also gone ahead to cut the back neckline as well. So I'll go ahead and remove the back first and then cut the front so that I don't end up cutting the both the same way. So I've removed the back and I'll go ahead and cut the front neckline now. So this is what I have after I was done cutting. This is actually how the front is looking, and this is actually how the back is looking. So I'll go ahead and cut an interfacing to turn the back and the front. So this is actually the back. I've gone ahead to cut it in such a way that I'll be able to sew from the neckline and the armhole. It will cover from the neckline and also the armhole. So I'll go ahead and sew it, and then I'll also do the same thing to this front as well. I'll place the right sides facing each other like that, and then I'll go ahead and sew from the neckline and then the armhole as well. And I'll also be folding this interfacing as well for both the back and the front. So guys, I'm actually done doing that. I'm done sewing the neck and the armhole, and I've also gone ahead to turn it and also neatly iron it. I've done the same thing to this back and then the same thing to the front as well, and I also went there to fold this interfacing, as you can see in this video. And this is actually how the front piece is also looking. I've also gone ahead to sew from the neckline and also the armhole, and I also went there to turn it and neatly iron it. So I'll go ahead and place the right sides of these pieces facing each other, just the same way you see in this video. So you can actually go ahead and just sew half an inch from there, but it actually be rough, so we'll be sewing it from inside. I'll place the right sides facing each other like that, and then I'll neatly fix it inside the space that is there. So from that interfacing, I will just flip it over and then take it inside and then sew about half an inch from there. And I also do the same thing to this other side as well. Place the right sides facing each other and then take it all the way in and then sew it about half an inch. So guys, I'm actually done doing that. I'm done fixing it. So you see, like now it's quite neat and it's not rough. So I'll go ahead and flip this and place the right sides facing each other, and then I'll go ahead and mark my appropriate measurement, starting from the upper side to the downside. I'll just sew it all the way to the downside. So if you actually want to create a slit, you can stop at some point, but later on I actually closed everything, but later on I went ahead to open it up again to create a slit so that she will be free to walk in the gown, since there is no extra space at the downside. So guys, I'm actually done doing that. I'm done sewing all the way to the downside. So the next thing I'm going to do is to be folding the downside. I'll fold it into two with the allowance that I left and then sew it all the way around. So I'm actually done doing that, and this is actually how it looks like. So I'm done closing everything, starting from the upper side to the downside, and then basically the gown is ready. So like I said, I actually went there to close everything, but later on I had to open it up to a point so that she'll be able to walk freely in. But if it is an A-line gown, there is no need of creating a slit. Okay, so guys, this is basically it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and also share this video to anyone you know the video will be of help to. Thank you, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.